You'll never guess. I got more books. How we doing, everybody? Good to see you again. I'm gonna take a sip of coffee and then we're gonna get right into this book haul. I ordered some books. I mostly found books at a library sale, and I'm about to show you all of them. From Jordan Nichols, shout out. I ordered four pretty cool books. This is Tanith Lee's Day by Night in the classic doll. Love her covers. She was absolute. I mean, aside from just being a great writer, her doll covers are awesome, as most of you guys know. Here's a reader copy of The Genocides by Thomas M. Dish. Love that freaking cover. Love it. Um, yeah, Jordan was cool enough. This was not super expensive. I've been looking for this book for quite some time, and this is definitely the book that I will the copy that I will read, I should say. And then I got two. This is not usual for the channel, but two modern um, copies of Cormac McCarthy novels. This is The Road and Blood Meridian. I just really thought they went well together. I thought they were really cool. So um, I don't know where he got these, but they're not for individual sales, so they must be part of a like a box set or some kind of set. But yeah, I thought these were neat, and I'm going to be reading The Road soon with Luke. Have several copies of it now. The ones that you guys have all seen, this copy. Um, you see this most places, but I thought it'd be cool to own that along with Blood Meridian in a nicer edition. So anyway, I don't think I have any more uh, whatnot orders. This is all that you're about to see from a library book sale that I went bananas at. I filled a bag and I was losing it. I need to just bring two bags or like get a rolly cart thing because every time I go to one of these library sales and I score, I you're gonna love this. This is so sick. Oh, so not everything you're about to see was from the library sale. A little stack here is from a half price books that I stopped at, um, and it had some gems and they didn't price them well. So let's go through that really quick. I didn't take the half price book stickers off, and you can see how dirt cheap they were. This is Tanith Lee's Delusions Master for a buck 25. It's not a first. It's I think a third. It's a third, but it's in a, maybe the cleanest DAW from Tanith Lee that I have now. Not a thing wrong with that. Sword of the Lictor, Gene Wolfe. I think this is a second or a third printing. But usually these books, third printing. Usually these Book of the New Sun, Tanith Lee's, somebody's pricing them properly, they'll go for a lot more than this. Harlan Ellison, this was in the horror section. Stalking the Nightmare. I don't know anything about this one, but it's got to be short stories because Harlan wrote like one novel. But yeah, it's short stories. These would be cool to read in spooky season. Vonda McIntyre's Fire Flood and Other Stories in that Timescape edition with the gorgeous cover. Just, it's a creepy cover. It's very uncanny. This is a first. Very cool. I think Ira over at Sci-Fi Words of Wonder, I think is his channel's name. Sorry, it's kind of early. My brain's not fully awake yet. I think Ira over at SF Words of Wonder. I'll link him down in the description. I think he covered that book, and I remember seeing the cover and kind of you know how you just see covers on book hauls and reviews and things, and you just tuck that away for later, and when you see it later, it just that dopamine rush of like I found it, you know. So I found it. All that to say, I found it. Uh, Merlin's Ring, H. Is it Warner? H. Warner Munn in this almost Valentine adult fantasy. I believe this was the book Matt at Book Pill just showed off on his latest video, um, at least at the time that I'm shooting this. Uh, and he showed this off as he explained kind of how like the Valentine adult fantasy line like was started and had books like this that look like they should be a part of that line that missed the cutoff because of either, I think Del Rey bought out Ballantine, or I'm not as well informed on these things, but anyway, this was I was I was speechless when I saw this one for a buck 50. Clark Ashton Smith's singing, the City of the Singing Flame. I have always loved that cover, and I'm sure you have too. Can't be beat. And I have read Clark Ashton Smith. If you are interested in any of that, I posted a video a few months back for reviewing Hyperborea, one of his Ballantine adult fantasy novels. Not a novel, collection of short stories, all centered around like the same world. It is some of the best cosmic horror and weird fiction writing that I've ever read. If you can get your hands on Clark Ashton Smith, please do. Speaking of that, this was the only book I spent a decent chunk of change on. This was only $20, and it's probably because of the condition, but I was more than happy to pay that for Zothique, I believe is how you pronounce it, from Clark Ashton Smith himself in the Ballantine Adult Fantasy first printing. It's a little beat up, but I looked it up at the store. I think at the time there was 3 or 4 listings on eBay, all $80 to $100. One was like 120. I was like, yeah, of course I'm going to pay $20 for that. So keep adding to that Ballantine Adult Fantasy. Oh, we're almost done with the half price books, and then I'm going to get to all these library book sale books that I found. A bunch of which that I will be selling. The auction probably will happen before this video comes out, so I don't know. This isn't promotion for it, I guess. I found a Moorcock book 4, the Elric Saga, The Vanishing Tower, in really good shape. Really like these covers. I've come to enjoy the artwork on these. That I don't think these are the original artwork. Could be. Another Moorcock, The Bane of the Black Sword. Decent shape. Need to read this full series, this full saga, but I have not yet. Read the first 2 books, and I'll get to the rest. This is called The Spear of Mars, edited by Reginald Bretnor. It was $1, and it has like a bunch of, I think, short stories by Poul Anderson, Orson Scott Card, Carl Sagan, Raccoon Sheldon, which is pen name for somebody. Man, who was that? She's on my list of 100 to read for Battle of the Shorts. Anyway, that's a collection of short stories, I think. This is Cataclysm: The Day the World Died by Don Pendleton. I didn't really know much about this. Looked it up. Seemed like it was worth $5. It looks like kind of like a disaster novel. The most frightening story you'll ever read. Better be freaking scary, Don. And then lastly, F. Paul Wilson's The Tomb. Little bit going on the spine. This has been read for sure, but looks creepy. 4th printing. Pretty cool. All right, let's get to these book haul or the library book sale books. I found in the paperback section they were 50 cents a piece, so like as cheap as you're ever going to find books. I'll start with what I'm going to sell. I think I set a bunch aside that I'm going to sell, and we'll just go through those. This is Tolkien's The Two Towers. In that, pretty classic. You've seen it before. There's J.R.R. and the Ballantine. I think this is like a 54th printing. So the classic. Henry Kuttner's Fury, which I would really like to read at some point. I read a couple of Kuttner short stories a while back, and they were really good. Yeah, I think I'm assuming, had help with C.L. Moore. They did a lot of writing together, which is really cool. Looks like a cool book. Bruce Sterling's A Good Old Fashioned Future. I believe these are cyberpunk-esque short stories from the man himself. These this time period, let me see when this is. Yeah, 1999. This time period of covers was just abysmal, but they have like a distinct look to them that is kind of charming now, 25-ish years later, quarter century later. Those 90s covers, early 2000s covers are, like I said, they really are awful objectively art wise, but they don't have the charm of stuff like this. Jack Vance's Big Planet. Take a look at the difference in this. Extremely distinct differences, but I don't know. Maybe it's because I grew up uh, in like the early 2000s, but that has like a nostalgia factor for me. But yeah, anyway, I digress. This is Big Planet, Jack Vance, really good shape. This is a second Ace printing. Vance rocks. Mission of Gravity, Hal Clement. I don't really pick up very much Hal Clement. He is pretty. He's got a lot of hard science fiction, and that is not really my cup of tea. But yeah, this is, I believe, this and something about fire. What is it called? Something. Is it up there? Fire Pattern? No, that's Bob Shaw. Hal Clement has another one that's very well known, but that Mission of Gravity is also one of his more famous novels. Here's a chunky little ace, Islands of Space by John W. Campbell. Always really like the purple on this one. It's in really good shape for an old ace. Sometimes these ones, they're just, pages are falling out. Copyright 1956. I never know when these actually were published because Ace did a weird thing with their printing dates on the inside. You never can be sure. CJ Cherry's The Pride of Shanur. Shanur. It's got the embossed gold on the front cover, which is cool. A nifty little cover. She really had a distinct style. This is a first of covers. This is a Michael Whelan cover, but those like cat-like humanoids. Not 100% sure what they're called. I read Cuckoo's Egg, and I should know. I read that a while back, though, so forgive me. This is The Legacy by John Coyne, a horror, vintage horror. It's given a lot of vibes from Pet Sematary. I bet that was a knockoff of Pet Sematary. This is a super clean ace double, like flawless. I just my last auction, I think I gave away or maybe sold one of these for like $2, $3. That was just beat to hell, and this is way cleaner. Jack Vance, Son of the Tree, and the Houses of Ism. A little bit of writing in the inside, but overall, that is yeah, really clean. Gorman Gast, Mervyn Peake. These are I've found relatively hard to find. This is an 8th printing, decent sized chip out of the back there, but overall, a chunky boy. You hear that? I love doing that during book hauls because it's just so satisfying. This is a beast of a novel, 568 pages. Wow. I'd like to read those at some point. I also say that many times during my book hauls. I come across a book and I'm like, that looks interesting. I want to read that. And then I don't for a long time. Keith Laumer, Retief's War in the Berkeley. Is that a Powers cover? We'll never know because they don't credit their artists. I'm not very good at identifying cover art at this time, but that's my like next thing that I want to get good at in science fiction and fantasy of this era. All the vintage stuff feels like everybody can identify cover artists, and I'm not good at it. Here's an Ace science fiction special of Clifford Simak's Why Call Them Back from Heaven. Got a weird bend in the cover. You see that? It like just bent in an odd place. I wonder if the glue's not doing anything. Anyway, I need to read Simak. Here's Arthur C. Clarke's Islands in the Sky. In a really old signet. 1952. Third printing. It's classic artwork. Don't worry, we are not even close to the bottom yet. So, for your viewing pleasure, just sit back, drink a cup of coffee like myself, or green tea if you like the antioxidants, and just take it easy and watch all these cool covers. EC Tubbs Technos and EC Tubbs A Scatter of Stardust. Another pretty clean ace double, a little bit of scuffing going on. It's hard to find clean ace doubles. Usually these are very well read and well loved. But I know some people, and now that I've gotten kind of into the selling on Whatnot, I've had my first show. Gonna probably do a second show soon. A lot of people care about condition when it comes to books, and collecting. I understand to a certain degree if you're in that stage and you're not planning on reading it, but I I look around at my collection and I kind of love the vast differences between conditions. Um, Part of that being the specific book itself. There are some books that are cooler to have in mint condition than there are other ones. But I look at like this box of super beat up, you know, Douglas Adams books. This is not a part of the haul. I've shown these off, I think, a time or two. But these were well loved and well read. I'm not looking to collect Douglas Adams. If I'm going to do anything with these, it's going to be read them. And so I'm not going to feel bad opening these up um, and reading them. But sometimes it is really cool to look on the shelf and see like a pristine copy. I'm wondering if I have anything. When you saw that Tanith Lee Daw, that's going to be really hard to read. You know what I mean? I don't really know if I want to read that since it's just so pure. So anyway, I'm not uh, I'm not weird about condition, but sometimes it's cool to find clean old vintage copies. Is I guess all I'm saying. Mercanters, or yeah, I believe that's Merchanters. It's got to be Mercanters. Mercanters Luck, CJ Cherry, Daw number 488. Wonder, it says Rendezvous at Down Below Station. I wonder if this is a sequel. First printing. Neato. The Wind's 12 Quarters, Ursula K. Le Guin. I guess I shot a video coming out next week from when I'm shooting this. I'm getting all tied up in my timelines of when my videos are coming out, so I apologize. But I read an Ursula K. Le Guin story out of here for Battle of the Shorts, an ongoing series I'm doing. Excuse me. Called The Ones Who Walk Away from Omelis. Right down here. Right down. Second to last story. It is the only 10 out of 10 short story I've given so far for all those that I've read. So get this book. Get a book that has The Ones Who Walk Away from Omelis. That story is amazing. Truly, truly like timeless stuff. This is another EC Tub. Oh, these are cool covers. Wow. I'm going to have to sit and look at these afterwards. EC Tub. Lalia in an ace double. And then Claude and Rona Nunez with Recoil. They just do not make them like they used to. Look at that cover. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Ursula K. Le Guin's The Farthest Shore in the Earthsea trilogy. This is the third one in good shape. I have mine over here, and they are not in good shape. So this might get swapped out. I'm going to look, actually. See, this is when condition matters. I just talked about condition. Well, if you have a book already, this is my fourth printing that has a very lean spine. And this is my 11th printing. Not really too much of a difference. That is very clean. I'm going to swap those. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how you upgrade. All right, let's keep going. Some weird ones in this. Weird. Okay. Grass by Sherry Tepper. I really love this cover. I think Jack over at Sci-Fi Finds, I'll link him down below as well. I think he read this. Could be wrong. I remember a video he did it wasn't All Flesh is Grass by Simak. There's a few like weird science fiction tales about grass specifically, and I wanted to say that was the Tepper that he read, but don't quote me on that. Sorry, Jack, if I messed that up and you see this. This is Shattered Light, Dark Light, number 2 by Chelsea Quinn Yarbrough. It includes Catware Online Play Disc. What? Includes Catware Online Play Game Disc offer. That is not a sentence. Based on the exciting new CD-ROM game from Simon & Schuster. This is weird. And it's in really great shape. I wonder if this is like one of those cult following, you know, old games that has a, you know, very select number of printings. It's a first. Probably worth like $5. That's cool though. I read Chelsea Quinn Yarbrough a while back. Rest in peace. She was a great writer. I read False Dawn shortly after she passed, and yeah, she's a good writer. Christopher Pike. This is a horror called The Listeners, a Tor horror with one of those keyhole covers. And this one, I don't know if the person who owned this book previous like put this little film thing in, but it's technically not. I can't poke through. This is an actual clear clear thing. All right, we're making our way to the bottom of this bag that I'm going to sell. Okay, cool. And then I'll show you the ones I'm going to keep, and then we'll call it. Shadrach in the Furnace, Robert Silverberg, not in the best of shape. But anytime you can find Silverberg for 50 cents, I think you should do it. I think you should do it. Worlds of Poul Anderson. I have this exact copy with a phenomenal cover. Bunch of short stories. Oh, come on. Are we going to get one of those weird... Oh, Planet of No Return, The War of Two Worlds, War Without Stars. Okay, so it's not short stories. 3 novels. Oh, I'm a dummy. I should have looked at the front. Those were short stories. Robert Heinlein. Oh, I bumped my mic. Robert Heinlein, 6 by X. This is going to be a giveaway probably, whatnot. Nobody's paying for that. But I did. I paid 50 cents. The Man Who Saw Tomorrow. This is a nonfiction, like weird Prophecies of Nostradamus. Translated and edited by Erica Cheatham. It is a 5th printing, 1982. Huh. Weird book. 50 cents. Ursula K. Le Guin's Malafrena. Probably said that wrong. Fortunately, a little bit of damage to that front cover, but otherwise in good shape. Berkeley edition, 1980. It's a cool book that you don't see all that often. All right, what's left in here? Oh yeah, I got a cool one to show you guys. Here's 2. I'll just show these together. Odd John and Sirius, 2 novels by Olaf Stapledon in like a Dover trade paperback, and then Last and First Men and Star Maker, Olaf Stapledon, both in these Dovers. Very. Oh, the flop. This is book ASMR. That's weird. Doesn't have the date of publish here. Oh, this Dover edition first published in 1968 is an unabridged and unaltered republication. Okay. So 1968. Cool. Are these really 1968? Wow. These are really neat. I don't know if I want to sell these. We'll see. If I do, they're gonna go to somebody lucky. And then I need to do a little bit more research on this before I sell it. But this is Robert A. Heinlein. His initials here. Doesn't have a dust jacket, but it's Moon is a harsh mistress. Hopefully you can catch it. It's very faint gold lettering on red, like pink. So it's hard to see, but it is. I don't know. He has a ton of stories right here. So I don't know if this is what. It's a third impression, 1966. So it could be a first. Would that be first edition, third impression, third printing? Or is that the other way? Anyway, early printing. The Moon is a Harsh Mistress was all that was meant to be. Okay, and then I found this. I actually own another copy of this same exact book, and I found it at the same exact library sale. But it's Dan Simmons' Love Death, Mylar wrapped, and it is autographed by Dan Simmons right there. So that was really cool to find for $2. Uh, yeah, it was so funny to me, like just the what's the word I'm looking for? Serendipitous, I think is the word I'm thinking of. Where like I don't know, 6 to 8 months ago, I found this exact same copy signed. Didn't know it was signed at the time. I don't think. I think I showed it on like a book haul, and I just was like, "Yeah, Dan Simmons, Love Death," and then I put it away. And then I came to find out later that my copy over there, I'm looking at it right now on the bookshelf, is signed. Then to find the exact same book signed as well. Very funny. So I will be passing that to somebody else. I don't know whether through eBay or whatnot. So yeah, cool book. All right, let's get to the books that I am. Books that I'm keeping. The Nike box here. All right. Hopefully that's not going to block anything. Found this at the Half Price Books for $5, but I've been after this cover for so long. Quick story, really quick, and then I'll show you these like 10, 12 books. When I started watching any vintage sci-fi content, vintage fantasy content, I'm pretty sure I came across a book build video, probably like many of us, and that's what like plugged us into the YouTube booktube sphere that we're in out here on the planet Pluto, way out in the deep recesses of YouTube. And I couldn't get enough of his content. Where I was watching book hauls 2 and 3 times, keeping it on my second screen at work, just kind of like letting the love for science fiction and fantasy and these vintage books kind of seep into my like subconscious. And I remember distinctly this cover was shown on one of his book hauls, and I thought he made a point to talk about how beautiful the cover was, and I was like, yeah. And that is The Valley Where Time Stood Still by Lynn Carter. I mean, it's I think this is my favorite science fiction cover in all of science fiction, and I've been after it for like over a year now. Have not found a copy and didn't want to order it. It's just not as fun when you order certain things, especially when you're hunting them actively. If you can't find something and it's that hard to find or it's expensive, and there's certain times when ordering something online is the right thing to do for a book collector. But I'm glad I waited this whole time to find that cover. I found a hardback book club edition of it, 4 or 5 months ago at another library sale, and I was like, dang it, I'm that close. But anyway, I just wanted to tell you guys that because I truly was, my heart was so full when I found that cover. Um, this is really cool. This is in the horror section. Thomas M. Dish's The MD. I did not know that he wrote any horror at all. And this is a thick, chunky guy, almost 500 pages. Um, yeah, it is a fourth printing, but it's that cool embossed, like it's got the snake design on here is a little bit embossed. So that's a neat book. Again, most of these are from the library sale. That one Lynn Carter I found at a Half Price Books, but Profiles of the Future by Arthur C. Clarke. I looked this up, and this goes for 15 or $20 on eBay, at least from my quick Google search. And this is a second, no, Bantam edition published. So anyway, it's not a first at all, not a second. It's a Bantam, old Bantam though, with a cool cover. Nebula Award Stories 9. I gotta check and see before I keep this if I have this one already. I have 3 or 4 of these in this livery of Nebula Award stories. This one is edited by Kate Wilhelm, has some really good stories in it. Death of Dr. Island by Gene Wolfe. Of Mist and Grass and Sand by Vonda McIntyre. The Death Bird by Ellison. Wow. Yeah. Some good stories in here, some really good writers. This is Voices from the Sky, Arthur C. Clarke in the Pyramid. I like pyramids a lot. I don't know why. They keep their shape, I think, pretty well. Christmas on Ganymede and Other Stories. This was just because it was weird, and I like weird stuff. There's a Barry Malzberg Christmas science fiction story in here, so if anything, that's worth it. There's Gene Wolfe in here, Connie Willis, James White, John Christopher, Frederick Pohl. So weird. This is Contact. This thing's falling apart, but it's so old and it has a freaking cool cover, creepy freaking cover. It's got Ray Bradbury, Sheckley, Fritz Leiber, Simic, Isaac Asimov, Frederick Brown. Yeah, short stories, but sometimes those really old ones that are kind of falling apart have a lot of charm to them. The Limbreth Gate, Megan Lindholm, which is actually Robin Hobb, who I think I'm starting to get a taste for her stuff. I need to read her, but I believe and don't again. I recall stuff from random whatnot streams and random, booktube videos from people that I watch. It all kind of blends together, so don't quote me on stuff. Trying my best to pull some of this information out when it pops up in these videos. But Ron over at Sci-Fi PBS, I'll link him down below. He does Whatnot, not YouTube, as far as I know. But I believe his favorite writer, he said, was Robin Hobb. She does the best character work. Ron, if you're watching this, I'm sorry if I misquoted you, and that's totally wrong. But anyway, Megan Lindholm as Robin Hobb. No, Robin Hobb. I am just all over the place. Robin Hobb writing as Megan Lindholm in The Limbreth Gate, a pretty cool cover. These I found, I think in my last haul video I showed off Harpy's Flight and the Wind Singers, which I found at a thrift store, not knowing that they were Robin Hobb until I did some research. And speaking of Robin Hobb, found this Dragon Keeper, Volume 1 of the Rain Wilds Chronicles. And it is signed, or at least written out to Adrian. Welcome to the Rain Wilds, Robin Hobb. That was cool. The more that I find signed copies, the more that I realize that people usually don't check the inside for stuff. So always check the inside of your books. Last haul I showed off a Kim Stanley Robinson, really random old like 90s paperback that I just happened to open up in Half Price Books. It was priced at $2 or $3 and it was signed to. And I know it's different when it's signed to somebody, but it's still cool. It's still really cool to find those kind of books. This is Ursula K. Le Guin's The Compass Rose. I'm keeping this one. This has got an insane cover. Look at that. Crazy. This is Bantam Edition 1983. Really cool stuff. Yeah, I'm keeping that one. I don't know if I've really seen that one around much. These are both in great shape. The Asutra, Jack Vance. Freaking look at that cover. Oh, the deep blue and then the teal text block. Oh, 1973. Beautiful book. Keeping that one. Not a Vance that I own. And then the Enemy, I think is how you would pronounce that one. Not as cool cover art. Still cool. But Jack Vance, teal text block again. This is a Dell. In really good shape. 1973 first printing. All right, those are all the paperbacks, and then I have a few trade paperbacks and hardbacks to show you that are, I think, pretty neat. This is Clive Barker. This thing, can you hear that? This thing is a absolute brick. This is called, I can't even freaking read that. Abarat. That is some difficult to read text. Cover art 2002. So this is like an early 2000s with paintings by the author. So these are paintings by Clive Barker inside of, I think, a couple of novellas or novels, maybe a full book. Part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4. Wow. I don't know what this really is, but it's got these gorgeous interstitial paintings by Clive Barker. And I am not really a Clive Barker like reader. I showed off some of his books in my last haul as well, that I found. Familiar with the name, not really familiar with what, I just know he's a horror writer. That's kind of all I know about him. But I thought this was extremely cool, and yeah, I'm keeping this thing. Um, if somebody's aware of what this is and like the significance of it, please let me know in the comments, because this is just, it's just too cool. Yeah. All right, and then The Stone That Never Came Down, John Brunner, in the book club. Yep, in the book club. I'm gonna make sure we're still recording. Yep, 36 minutes, nice. Almost done here, ladies and gents. Thank you for joining me for a slightly shorter book haul than normal. This is The Last Starship from Earth by John Boyd. I always try to grab the book club editions that have the more paper uh, dust jackets. You'll know what I'm talking about if you've kind of held one. They tear a lot easier. They don't really keep as well, but I think they're older. I think this is before they switched to the more like, where is this? I'll just grab this one. This has a shine to it and a much more like, it feels more plastic, like gloss. Before they switched to that kind of material, there was this, which is, it's not glossy. And anyway, I think it's a sign that they're a little bit older. This is 1968, and I just think they're cool. And I really had never heard of this one. It had really good cover art, wrap around all the way. So pretty neat. All of the hardbacks were $2. All those paperbacks were 50 cents, like I said. So me and my mom went, and I think we spent like $40 total on all this stuff. Library sales, for a quick plug, I think I do this every time I do a haul. If you have local library sales, go support them. They support local libraries, and the money should be going right back to the library, I believe, for most of these. So it's supporting local libraries and reading and all the programs that they do. And the books are almost always dirt cheap. I mean, I don't know where they get all their books, where they source any of them. Most of them seem donated. Most of them seem like they contact local bookstores and local thrift stores and just people who want to donate books, and they just give them their books. And so, this has a half price book sticker on it. So at some point, this was in a half price books. Nobody bought it, and they just gave it to the library sale to sell for $2. Gave it, or I guess they didn't sell it to the library. Anyway, next book. That was just a short little plug because I love library book sales. This is Haunted America: Star Spangled Supernatural Stories, selected by Marvin Kaye. I think this is really cool, mostly just because like it's an omnibus of horror, which they're not very common to find, like horror or supernatural omnibuses that are vintage. This is copyright 1990. H.P. Lovecraft is in here. I think I've read The Terrible Old Man. That's a really good story. Walheim, Donald A. Walheim's in here. Mark Twain, Robert Bloch. I'm going to read the names that I know. Asimov, Edgar Allan Poe, Manly Wade Wellman, L. Frank Baum, Frank Belknap Long. That's got to be the same person. I'm just kidding. Henry Kuttner, Algernon Blackwood, Fritz Leiber, Anthony Boucher, Richard Matheson, Robert E. Howard, Willa Cather, Barry Malmsberg's in here. I mean, what a cool collection. That's going on the shelf for sure and probably will be read during spooky season. I don't know if I like the term spooky season. I'm not much of a I don't anyway. I don't get down with the cool slang. Here's a first of Virtual Light by William Gibson in pretty good shape. Yeah, this is a first. I have All Tomorrow's Parties, Zero History, this one. There's a couple more hardcover Gibsons I have Mona Lisa Overdrive hardcover. I'm starting to get close to getting all of the Gibson hardcovers, so I think I got a trade paperback of Spook Country last time. Oh, look at this one. Just look at that. Call your books Far Rainbow / The Second Invasion from Mars by Arkady and Boris Strugatsky. That's a Richard Powers cover. I am 90% sure I'm going to stake my claim right now. Please have it in here. They never credited their cover artist. Oh, I'm going to sit here and look and it's not going to even show. Gosh dang it. That's got to be. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Anyway, this book is hard to come by, I think. Anything Arcadian Boris Strugatsky is hard to come by, but this book is so cool. Really great shape. I'm keeping this one for sure. I think I own like 3 Strugatskys because they're just not common. Second to last book, a 40th anniversary edition trade paperback of the classic Dune. Look at the flop. Listen to the flop. This might be my reader copy when I get around to reading this again. Luke and I were planning on reading these before the third movie comes out. Just reading them. I've only read the first one. He's read 6 of them. I know there's a whole extended thing now that you see, but anyway, I thought that was kind of cool for a buck. Technically, these are paperbacks, so these were a buck because they were big trade paperbacks. And this is so cool. I'm really this is one of my favorite books I own now, physical books. This is a treasury of modern fantasy, and it is absolutely gorgeous. The cover art is just insane. You're not going to probably be able to see the names on the back. I'm going to hold it up pretty close, but I don't know where my framing is. It has a really cool way of showing the names where it just goes all the way around this art paint board, whatever you call that. Sorry. But it's got every single person you could think of that did fantasy. Blish, C.L. Moore, Clark Ashton Smith. I'm just going down the list. Fritz Leiber, Ray Bradbury, Joanna Russ, Dish, Zelazny, R.A. Lafferty, Robert Bloch, Jack Vance, H.P. Lovecraft, Philip Jose Farmer, C.M. Kornbluth, Harlan Ellison. I mean, tons more. It's got everything in here. And it's in such good shape. Edited by Terry Carr and Martin Harry Greenberg. First Avon printing 1981. Oh, cover illustration by James Marsh. Finally, they credited a cover artist. Way to go, James Marsh. You created a beautiful, beautiful cover. Love it. Anyway, that's the book haul. Thank you for joining me. Tune in on Saturday mornings at 9 o'clock if you want to see me break down some short stories. And then, just be on the lookout if you're interested in any Whatnot auctions. Stay tuned to my Whatnot. Should be at Dad Like Book. Some of these books might be available on those. So if you want to come snag a couple of them, they might be available. Anyway, I'm going to go enjoy my cold coffee. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Thanks for watching.